So today we have a surprise video because my truck's battery died, and I've tried charging it. I've tried everything else. It's kind of shit out. I'm assuming it's quite old because I bought it and there's no date codes on it, no date sticker, no nothing. And AC Delco usually has like a date code on the top and the label, but it doesn't for some reason. I can't find it anywhere. So I couldn't really get it warranted by a Chevy shop because, they don't want to warranty shit ever. I went down to my local AutoZone and got a AC Delco battery. Picked it up for about 171 bucks with core, after tax, all that jazz. So I'll be showing you how to install that on a 2010 1500 Sierra. It's basically the same for 07 to 14, or no, 07 to 13 1500s, and I'm pretty sure on the 2500s it's the same as long as you have the 6.0 and not the 6.6 diesel. It's just gonna be a bigger battery for the 2500s. I didn't really have anything planned for this week. I'm kind of in luck that my truck shit out for once, and I needed to buy a battery so I can make a video for you guys. So without further ado, I'm gonna get down there and sweat my ass off while showing you what you're gonna need, where everything's located, and how to do it. I've done a ton of these when I worked for Chevy, so it shouldn't take me very long. Here I have my Milwaukee fuel electric ratchet, a 10mm socket, a 13mm socket, deep or short well. I just have deeps on me right now. I brought down a 10mm wrench just in case the negative cable's nut was sort of hard to get to. I have a flathead screwdriver just in case those terminals get a little stuck on there. And I have a medium-sized extension and a long extension to get to the hold-down bolt. You can use either or if you have a deep well socket, but I prefer to just go all out and get the extremely long extension, because that's just how I overcompensate in my life. Here I have my AC Delco battery. Co-cranking amps are 680, even though in this Texas heat I don't think it's gonna really fucking matter. But yeah, I opted to go for the 18-month warranty just because that's all they had. And I didn't really want to put Duralast in my car. Okay, so here we have the battery in the back right corner of the engine bay. There's another battery slot over where the camera's sitting on the front left. That's an optional battery tray that if you wanted to use another battery there, you would have to drill some holes, get another harness, and you'd be able to use a new battery there. Just for this light duty truck, I only really need one battery because I don't have any accessories on this bad boy. It's all stock except for this K&N filter, and it does the job. Up here you've got the structural piece that you have to get out of the way to get to the negative terminal, and in general just to get the battery out. The positive's pretty easy access. Remove the dust cover if you have one. Just one nut right there, you loosen a little, pull the thing off. But there's just 4 13mm bolts here, and to get that off you just loosen the bolts. The brace has built-in nuts on it, so you don't have to worry about catching anything. Just make sure you don't lose those bolts. You want to keep all the hardware that you have. Now next you have this other structural piece with one more 13mm bolt. I found it that it's optional to take out, just based on how fast you want to do the job. But for purposes of this video, I'm going to be taking it out. There's a bolt up here, and if I do believe there's a bolt down here, and that's where that long extension comes in play. It just makes it easier to maneuver the battery to get it out, especially when it's one of these, which doesn't have a handle, and it's pretty fucking heavy, and you just want to get it out, throw it on the ground, stomp on it, throw it at your manager, whatever. Other than that, there's only one thing left in your way, and that's the battery hold down, which is down here. That's just a 13mm bolt also. Again, that's where that long extension will come into play. Other than that, there's nothing else, and I'll get started on it. Now, I like to get all the hardware out of the way before I even take the terminals off. That's just how I do it, and then I'll put it back on the way it came off, and it's either here nor there. It all gets done at the same pace. I always like to set my hardware on the core supports little cowl here, just to keep it in check, because I know I've seen some guys put it on their box or put it on the floor and then forget about it when they're putting it all back together. Now here comes the part where I'm taking the battery positive and negative cable off. Now if this was a customer car, I would use a battery saver just to keep all their settings on their radio, you know, seat positioning, all that in check, so when they come back, it's not like their clock's different or all their favorite radio stations are back. It can piss them off sometimes I don't care. Since this is my own personal vehicle and I don't have a battery saver handy, I'm not going to use one. I also don't really care about my radio stations because none of them are that great around here, but that's just my preference. You can actually make them out of a 9-volt battery and some alligator clips, and that's enough to keep a charge in the system so that all the memory doesn't just get wiped when you take this battery out. Now you can't really do anything with that 9-volt on there, and you can actually fry the shit out of your wiring on your makeshift battery saver if you're not careful. So I'm going to go ahead and take these positive and negative cables off and take the battery out. Now I forgot to mention there is one thing that's optional. It just makes it easier to get the battery out. There is one nut down here that holds this coolant reservoir in place, and if you don't want to fight this thing coming out, just get your long extension, your 10mm socket, reach down here and take it off, and then you'll have a little room to maneuver. In the back here you can see probably a glare from my buddy's 392 charger. He said not to tell you, but it's really dirty right now. I'll plug his Instagram when I'm done with this. Ugh. And voila, it's out. It actually took me no time at all. And time to throw the new one in. Luckily the new one has a handle on it, so it'll be much easier to get in than just tossing it in. Here I have my new battery. Positive goes towards the front on these bad boys. On different Chevy trucks, sometimes it can be different. I'm not super familiar with which ones are opposite or not, but on these bad boys, it's positive in the front, negative in the back. So you want to make sure that you slip the outward side of the battery into its little hold down slots, because if not, then your hold down won't be able to keep it in place when it bounces around. Other than that, you want to make sure that you take off all these plastic pieces, because if you don't, then you're not going to make any connection on your battery. Okay, so on my negative cable I have a little bit of corrosion there. It's not a big deal. I could brush it off if I have my brush. I'm not going to worry about it because I can always just access it here and clean it off later. But some people have a preference on which one they want to put on first. It's literally, do you want to put on the positive cable first or the negative cable? You're going to get a spark either way most of the time. I don't really care. I've never been hurt by a battery. Just throw your cables on one at a time and don't connect the two. Now when installing these, you want to make sure that the terminal here sits below the head of the positive terminal on the battery. It's just better, you'll make a better connection and it'll stay on there better than if you were, say, let me look this up here, like up here. That doesn't look very safe. It doesn't look like it's going to make a good connection, but guarantee you this does. Also, do not put your negative cable on your positive cable or on your positive terminal. If you do that and you put them backwards, you have a chance of blowing up the battery and doing a bunch of damage to the PCM, TCM, and all the computers in your car. That is a no-no. Do not do that. Make sure that you have your negative cable going to your negative terminal and your positive cable going to your positive terminal. It never fails. I get sweat in my eye on every fucking one of these videos I do. I need better eyebrows. quick tip, again, I'm full of tips. That sounded weird. I always just hand tighten these on, all of them, because they take 2 seconds to put together. You just don't want to put them in wrong and have to like maneuver everything around them. It's just easier to put them through. It'll save you like 5 seconds at the end, especially if you're doing this as a job for a customer. You want to save as much time as you can so you can make as much money as you can. And there we go, everything's back tightened up. I'm gonna go and turn the key, see if everything lights up. When you first start them up, you wanna like turn the key on, or engine off, key on. Let it sit for about like 10 seconds and then start it up. Just lets juice get and flowing through the whole system, making sure everything's okay. Alright, so there you have it. That's how you do a battery on a 1500 Sierra from 07 to 13. Now, I promised my buddy that I'd show off his 392 Scat Pack charger. So, here we go. Here's his Instagram if you guys want to check him out. Now for some sexy shots of my truck. Ooh! Yeah, you know she's got the gap in the bumper, as a lot of Sierras do. Oh yeah! It's got a different grill because I put a lower model grill in it. It used to have the Denali grill. Oh yeah! It's got that WeatherTech boy to keep them rocks off of this perfect hood that's kind of rusty on the inside. Oh yeah! It's got all new suspension except for the struts because I forgot to replace them because I'm so lazy. Oh yeah! It's got KO2s on stock Steelies. Oh yeah! It's got generic off-brand GMC fucking hubcaps that faded. Oh yeah! It's got so many rock chips in it because they redid my street a long time ago and the concrete just stuck to it. Oh yeah! It's got rust on the bed because it's a fucking Canadian truck that made its way down to Detroit. Oh yeah! And it's got a bad paint job on the tailgate. Don't worry about that. I'm so shitty at painting. Oh yeah! And here we go. We got a dent in the other side of the bed. Oh yeah! Because of a Ford owner. Oh yeah! It's got chips in the windshield because of assholes that drive too close like me. Oh yeah! Other than that, I think it's a pretty nice truck. It's got a cool heritage and I'd love to throw a turbo on this thing. If you know anybody that can get me a turbo for real cheap, just send it to me. I'll give you my address for free. So now that I'm all sweaty and dirty, before I go cook dinner and take a shower, I always forget to do outros on this channel just because I'm new to this, okay? So I'm gonna send in maybe more funny clips of me just saying random shit. So I'll see you in the next one. You should like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, especially you, Jimmy. I love you, Jimmy. It's Betty. Ooh, who's that? Ooh. Don't lick my camera, big boss. It's for filming. It's for filming. It's for filming. Oh yeah. Who's a good big boy?